It's like this movie is speaking to the voice of the American people, the voice of the voiceless, the ones who want to get their story across and be able to be heard by those that have a voice, or maybe don't have a voice. We're still looking for the story here, but the story could be the struggle of someone trying to find the story from the voice of those that are voicing their voices to the voiceless. You get what I'm saying?
Can't solve something like this with a 45. It's the breakdown of society is what it is.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that's very wise.
You're gonna need a 12 gauge, couple of ARs,
No.
Western automatic, and a sidearm for safety.
Exactly.
Today we have Vengeance. So Vengeance is a interesting film. Nobody heard about this one. I barely heard about this one. This was like Beast recently. I just saw a single trailer for this and saw some actors that I recognize and thought, okay, this could be good. Maybe. So for those that don't know, Vengeance is directed by B.J. Novak, and immediately you see your face and you're like, it's Ryan from The Office. Like everybody said it. That does bleed through into this and my perception, because I saw him and I thought, oh yeah, it's that guy from The Office. And then it said written and directed by. Has this guy done anything else? This is more or less his big directorial debut. He's directed some episodes of The Office, obviously, in the past. He's even directed some episodes of, I think, The Mindy Project. But aside from that, this is his first, like, film. So keep that in mind. Directorial debut. Maybe we got another Jordan Peele on our hands here. Let's see how it goes. There's some faces you might recognize. Again, BJ is the star, so he's one of those guys that said, I'm going to write and direct this, and also I'm going to star in it. So, interesting take. You know, some people think it's an egotistical move. I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. I think, okay, he had an idea for a story and he wanted to be this character. He's trying to portray himself as a flawed character in this. There's some big names in this. I think my favorite is Boyd Holbrook. I love this guy. Nobody knows his name when I bring it up, but then I say, oh, it's the guy from Narcos. It's the guy from Logan. I like him. He's a good actor. Even Ashton Kutcher's in this. Again, don't need to go into his filmography because a household name, it's Ashton. But yeah, this film doesn't really have a lack for any star power. There's a bunch of people that you probably wouldn't know, because I certainly didn't know, but you know. So what's Vengeance about? Literally, it's this guy, BJ's character is just a writer in New York, but he's not a good person. He's really down into like hookup culture and trying to exploit anything around him for a story, and he's trying to make himself famous, and he wants to be the voice of a movement, right? He wants to be somebody who's a known quantity in this world of like podcasts and storytellers, but he's looking at doing it for all the wrong reasons. Gets a call, oh, your girlfriend died. He's like, I don't have a girlfriend. And it turns out a girl that he hooked up with that apparently told her family that they were a lot more serious, and they think that he's the boyfriend. So he inexplicably flies out to Texas for this funeral, and although they all say it's an OD, he finds out through the brother, Boyd's character, that he thinks she was murdered. And then the story continues, because then immediately BJ says, I can make a story out of this. These backwards Texas rednecks, crazy conspiracy theory, right-wing people, all these weird kooky characters have this conspiracy theory that this girl was murdered and that she didn't just OD. So I can exploit them and make a great story for my podcast, and that's the movie. So I'll start with the pros first. At its core, it is actually a very intriguing murder mystery. The first act felt like an episode of The Office, and a lot of the film feels like BJ's playing his character from The Office. A lot of scenes are played that way. No music, just scenes that are being filmed. There's jokes that are happening, but there's, it's up to the audience to fill in the laughs. So the first act is a little bit weird. Second act is where things pick up into a more compelling murder mystery. The film picks up. At times, the film is very funny. I laughed out loud many times. Almost hilarious in spots here and there. It's the whole film is more or less played as a dark comedy. Like 80% of the film, probably even 90%, is all played for laughs. There's a serious murder mystery underplot here, and there's moments where things slow down to have those dramatic moments or reveals or stuff like that. But a lot of the film is still played for comedy beats, and most of it's successful. Some of it's that if you don't like The Office's style of comedy, you may not like a lot of this film. In case I didn't already kind of show my hand with this earlier. Boyd's character is 100% my favorite part of this film. He's the best character. Are there other good characters? Sure. There's other funny people and other, like, well-written people, but Boyd Holbrook's character in this as the brother 100% carries this for me. I love him in any scene he's in. The guy's a great actor. There are some solid messages the film wants to get across, and they're not entirely wrong. It is trying to provide a bit of a commentary on society and consumerism regarding media entertainment and how legacy, what it means to say something for the end for that to carry for different sides of a story, and how the political and socioeconomic zeitgeist and just all the there's a lot. There's a lot going on in terms of that, but it also suffers because of that, and I'll get to it in just a second. I think where it suffers the most is its pacing. 100% the pacing of this film brings this film down for me. Some scenes are played a little bit too long. They definitely could have cut some time. Many seconds could have been cut. Especially when it came to these conversations people have where they're like whether you're trying to establish a character through their dialogue, or whether you're trying to get one of your messages across by having a character deliver kind of a mini monologue. Sometimes it gets a little bit too wordy, and don't get me wrong, for me, this guy right here, I like it when things are wordy, prolific. I like it when there's a message to be had, or someone has a very good monologue, but a lot of this film gets lost in its own script sometimes. Some moments are timed perfectly and they work, but a lot of this film has a sense of pacing issue where sometimes it speeds up a little bit and has some good moments, then it just slows down and these scenes kind of drag and just maybe it's just the jokes not landing or not working for me. It could be personal bias based on what I find to be funny or intriguing, but I personally believe that this film suffers because of it due to its pacing and due to just the script could have been trimmed up, could have been tightened, could have been worked a little bit better. BJ isn't bad in this film. I think he's good at what he does, but what the problem is, I think he still thinks he's in an episode of The Office. I'm sure he could be a great dramatic actor, but it feels again like he's playing. And this is I'm not even trying to say I'm like biased and I only see him as that character. I can easily let myself see him as somebody else. I didn't think of The Office through the character he was playing, overtly, but there are a lot of scenes where it felt like it was just an episode of it. That's just kind of the character he was playing. Maybe the man typecast himself, who knows. What's funny is I also got Hot Fuzz vibes. This film actually has a very similar kind of thread to that movie, which I love. Hot Fuzz, I think it's damn near, if not a perfect film. The moments where it starts to get like Hot Fuzz, where the pacing is great, I think BJ could take a page from Edgar Wright's direction when it comes to film. I think BJ had some really solid ideas, some great ideas, some well written scenes, well directed moments, a good story. All the pieces were there, and I think if there had been some more polish, if there had been some if they had cut down the runtime a little bit, if they had tightened it up, made things a bit quicker, and still kept in the messages they wanted to get across, we could have had like a discount Hot Fuzz. It could have been really good. It's a difficult movie for me to recommend. The movie's also trying to explore the theme of vengeance. But that's the thing. This movie has so many different themes it wants to explore that instead of focusing on just one or two, I think they could have easily done two themes very well in this film, or even just one. But I think the fact that they try to expand their palette and tackle all these different topics, the film suffers and gets pulled down because of it. If you want to see something that has a better, more focused theme on vengeance and what that actually means, play Last of Us Part 2, play Red Dead Redemption Part 2. And there's a shitload of movies about vengeance too. A variety of things. But I think this film, it's not a bad watch. It was good. I thought it was good at the end of the day. I just don't know if I can really recommend it to a lot of people. I would be down to watch it again, but I don't feel going out of my way to watch it. I would give Vengeance a high 3 out of 5. A high 3 out of 5. And that's basically my way of saying I think the film is above average. I would like to see BJ Novak do more, because there's some really good pieces here on the table. Some really good pieces. And some good ideas, and there's clearly talent that lies there. But it just has a lot going for it, and I would love to see what kind of films BJ could make in the future based off his experience and listening to any constructive criticism about this one now. Above average for sure. It's a solid, good watch. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode, whatever I make. Stay tuned for the next episode, whatever movie I review next. And goodbye, travelers.